Welcome back to Let's Try Roleplay. This is episode 4 of The Long Night, a crossover campaign. I'm James, and I'll be playing Ibothane, the Dragonborn sorcerer, with his friend Kyle. I am talking! I was introducing Kyle, one of my favourite characters, and his friend Pebble, the Acheron.
I'm Henry.
Hi, Henry.
I'll be playing an alcoholic. Probably actually an alcoholic Oliver Richmond III with his friend Ainsley, and probably an also alcoholic Umbra Castle to the toilet.
I'm Robin, and I'll be playing Nine, who's a tiefling paladin, most likely also an alcoholic, and then playing Nat Embers with her friend Indy the Arcanine, but not an alcoholic, she's too young.
And I'm Connor, your dungeon master.
Having seen their friends, old and new, depart back to Umbra Castle in search of Tholme and the missing Mistjuar authorities, Nine, Oliver and Kyle have their mission to head towards Skoll Island in hope of rescuing Oliver's kidnapped father and sister. However, mysteries of this mirror portal and the activities of this ancient religion shroud their situation. And for this reason they must also find out whatever information they can about their new enemies. Supposedly heading behind enemy lines, our heroes must be careful not to endanger themselves or jeopardise the mission. Mistjuar, A Story of How Past Meets Future by Harris. Chapter 3. Very few people have heard the story of how I came to be known as the father of Mistjuar. It is a story that I have been reluctant to tell until now. But in the wake of the best days in the history of the Mistjuar region, I feel that there has never been a better time to tell its full story. And whether I like it or not, I am a big part of the story. In order to tell my story, I must however first tell the story of my parents. The night of the Hattie massacre, mothers of young children agreed to cast their beloveds onto the sea aboard anything that would float in the desperate hope that they would reach the mainland, as they knew that they were doomed on the island. Tragically, Salem torched almost all of them as he breathed flames from the island. However, 2 babies made it to the mainland untouched and unseen by Salem. Against the odds, these individuals grew up and learned to live off the land and made friends with the region's Pokemon, and in time gave birth to me. I grew up to live a similar life to them and travelled all over the Mistjuar mainland with my Pokemon friends. As I grew older, my winged friends even took me away from the Mistjuar region to foreign lands like the Johto and Sinnoh regions. I travelled everywhere, and I am lucky to have seen more of the world than most. But it was in Kanto that I met someone that would change my life completely. A young trainer was taking the nation by storm as he passed through the 8 gyms with incredible ease. It was very early on in his journey that we met, and despite being a boy of few words, we got on exceptionally well, and have been friends ever since. I speak, obviously, of the now legendary Red. Our friendship flourished over the years, and I brought him to Mistjuar many times to experience what truly wild Pokemon were like, with no surrounding civilization. However, with his newfound celebrity status, it was not long before people found out about him coming to Mistjuar, and so others decided to follow him to this unknown land. This was a strange time, as people started to flood to the Mistjuar region, and in finding out that I was the only real local person, they used me as a source of information. At the time I was very sceptical about people moving to Mistjuar, but over the years, the people that have arrived have made this region thrive and become the place that it is today. My parents always stayed out of the way, as they were getting too old for all the change, and eventually they died happy in their wild home. It was only then that I began to understand their heritage. As they knew nothing of the religion that bound them, they never practiced in the ways of Hattie, and it was only upon discovering the symbols tattooed on the back of their necks and researching their true meaning that I found out my own heritage. And so now, 50 years on, I stand in a completely different Mistjuar to the one in which I grew up. However, I know I will never forget my roots, for I am truly the last of my kind, the last of a now extinct religion, the last of Hattie.
How old is Harris?
What? Harris is.
Didn't all that shit happen hundreds of years ago?
No. This happened about 2 generations ago. So
he's 2 generations old.
So about
That's not that long ago.
so about-
2 generations
about
ago was only Emerald.
About 50, 60 years ago is when the massacre happened, and that's when his parents were then put on.
Okay, so they're super primitive people and like whatever on the 2 islands. That was sort of going alongside. There was technology and shit everywhere else in the world.
Yes.
So there's all cool technology going on everywhere else.
Yeah.
And then fuck.
So he's like, how old is he now?
60s.
But he grew up as like a cave boy.
But the thing happened 60 years ago.
About 50 years.
So the world must
He
have...
was about 10, 12 when him and Red
Yeah.
came to the mission.
So 60 years ago, the massacre happened.
Yeah.
And his parents came to the land.
No. So his parents grew up wild on the
It was
island.
about 100.
Yeah.
Like,
But when did the
20
massacre happen?
Hold on, I wrote it down.
So I
it was
assume-
it was 100 years ago, roughly, is when the
Okay.
actual massacre
The
happened.
babies escaped
Yes.
and then raised themselves.
Yes.
I mean, Nat was raised by Arcanines.
And they with
Now-
new Pokemon friends.
Okay, so
Oh,
we
the Pokemon raised
the
Matt would
babies
love these
grew
people.
up and then shagged. Yeah,
They're
okay, I get that.
No.
And then the
Did they only do it doggy
he grew
style?
up.
'Cause
So
they
the
were raised by-
world, the world must have fucking freaked him the fuck out. Because one, he didn't speak a language, so that must have been a bit of a
He
hurdle.
turns up and he's like, Harris?
And now
Harris?
he's writing,
Harris?
Now he's writing a
Harris?
book, which is pretty amazing.
Harris?
Yeah, where did his name come from? And then wait. Did
That is the best joke I think you've ever made.
So he has no language apart from his Pokemon one. Okay, so he but then he did the so yeah, then he learnt his language when he was around learning and whatnot. But the world must have been like fucking terrifying to him.
Yeah.
Is this why he feels comfort underneath tables? Tables are solid and real and they're there and you can hide under them. Okay, I get it now. Cool.
Okay, so you guys being Nine, Oliver, and Kyle
Yeah.
have just watched their friends fly off. Henry's got. Let's talk about this face for a minute. This beer that you've just tried.
It's not good.
Can I try it? No, I like that.
No, I don't. I'm going to drink it, but...
It's like a Weiss beer. It's
Yeasty
like,
Boys
Hobart
White
Noise.
Noise.
See, that is the issue, is it's a white beer, and I don't like white beer. I just bought it because it's called Yeasty Boys.
Do you want to swap for the rest of
No,
my...
I don't like speckled hen.
You chose well tonight.
I basically like IPAs. That's it. Because I'm a basic... Men that like IPAs are the equivalent of basic bitches for girls.
Well, I'd say the guys who like proper like stale lagers. Like
No, 'cause they're no, but like IPAs is like people that want to be hipster, like me, but can't quite pull it off.
That's not basic bitch. Basic bitch is like Carling.
yeah, Heineken.
Tenants.
Heineken,
but it's
your-
not Carling.
Your tenants, your Fosters.
I actually quite like Foster's.
Nah.
It tastes like nothing,
Nah.
so it's drinkable.
It tastes like nothing wrapped in sweat.
So you guys have just watched your friends fly off. They're heading off towards Umbra Castle.
Bye.
And I can't remember whether I gave you guys like when we sorted out potions last time. Did I give you guys potions?
We got
as well?
potions as well.
You guys got it as well. Fantastic. So
Because I remember writing down how many potions Carl
Oh
had
yeah.
somewhere.
okay.
I have no idea. How many do we have?
Oh yeah, because you weren't there. Did someone write down Henry's potions?
Yes. No. Yes, I did. Oh god, there's a lot of... I wrote a lot more notes than I thought. I think I did. Okay, Kyle. Did you write it down? I did not write it down.
No.
I got 1 revive, 1 full restore, and 2 full heals.
I mean, I got 4 potions of greater healing, but that's not really a Pokemon thing. That's a me thing.
Shall I go with the exact same thing that Carl has?
Yeah.
So what did you have, Carl?
1 revive, 1 full restore, and 2 full heals.
I also, Ibothane gave me 3 magic stones.
Oh yeah, I did that.
They...
They'll work for a while, probably.
I would also just like to point out, I've never used it before. I've got this thing called Braces of Resistance,
I
right?
gave them to you so long ago.
I've never really had the chance to use them.
You have used them.
Have
You
I?
did
Yeah,
use them in
because
Old
I've
Ford,
edited you.
Yeah. So I need to choose the type of damage that I'll become resistant to until a long rest. What's the type of damage? I've got slicing. I've got
slashing, piercing, bludgeoning, but you can choose anything. So you can choose
Fire.
poison, you can choose fire, you can choose cold, you can choose water, you can choose a lightning, you can choose thunder.
I mean, I'm gonna probably get up close and personal with someone, so
It's 9.
let's go slashing. Let's
Okay.
go slashing damage
Cool.
because they had scimitars. I feel like
I recommend
good
you
shout.
keep a note of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you guys are boarding your Pokemon. Right, how are you getting to Skoll? Let's make a plan.
I've got my Flygon.
Okay.
Can I get
Does anyone else have any flying Pokemon?
I get out my phone, call a helicopter service.
We are fucked.
I've got a rig of jumping. I mean, I could jump like
It's just like fucking like boing, boing,
I can
boing.
Mario my way there.
No, it's boing, feather fall.
Yeah,
boing,
true.
Feather fall.
Yeah, so genuinely, you guys don't have any more flying Pokemon, do you?
No, just me. No.
I call a helicopter service.
Flygon's-
I'm a rich heir to a multi-million
Flygon's-
dollar company. I call a
That's
helicopter.
fair enough, yeah.
How long are you gonna wait for it to get? Like, I'm pretty sure they can't get one to you within like 5 minutes.
How with 6 minutes?
I'm just thinking, you really don't want to be flying a helicopter into this situation that you're about to go.
So,
Can you roll something for that?
right. So, what do we reckon this will be?
I don't know.
Could just make it like persuasion because I
do you know
okay,
what?
Right. So I have an idea. So I whip out my Pokedex /phone.
Okay.
Call the helicopter company and say I need a helicopter now. And then on the other end, you hear like, "Sorry, we won't have them available for blah 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 blah." And then I want to scream down the phone like, "They have my family! Don't you know who I am?" And then I want to use intimidation.
No, they let you. And then they said,
I did roll a nat 20, so they definitely let me.
They said 16.
You hear on the other side of the phone, this is Clive from a helicopter something company.
Helicopter Uber.
Helicuber.
Helicuber, we're hella good.
and he's like, oh, sorry, at once. And then, literally within about 10 seconds, you hear like the of something like in the distance, and then you wait for it, or you check on your Helicuber app, and you see it flying towards you, and then
Nice,
it comes
not okay
through-
with this. What the fuck is this thing coming towards
Nice
me?
is like, "Wah."
Just like,
Oh, it's a metal dragon.
Yes, I'll like make sure there's like I'll get I'm assuming we're like outside in Trainer City Academy or something like that. I'll get it to like land in like the courtyard or like the quad or whatever it is, and just be like, everyone back, and just like make all the children step back and stuff like that, and then like, come on, look at 9 and be like, come on, get on.
I kind of shuffle over, just kind of like fall into it. Like, I don't really get what this thing is.
I'll open the door for you and be like, sit on the seats.
Milady.
Where put my sword and my shield? Is
Not
there
in the rotors.
Just put them between your legs or something.
Yeah, those are the swords. I fight that, right? Ah! Down with
There's a
ye.
D&D spell about like Ring of Swords or something.
Yeah.
Like-
Oh, I want that.
okay, so you two, Oliver and 9 are getting into the helicopter.
I get in the helicopter as well.
Do you?
No, I specifically order a 2-man helicopter.
Oh, dig!
Oh, we're still having this, are we? Okay, right,
I
so
have Flygon.
so you've got Flygon, you're going to fly on behind them then.
Go on, I'll fly.
So what's your plan? Before you leave, why don't you make a
So
plan?
I'm thinking. So we're going towards this island.
In character.
So, guys,
I like to imagine this as you're doing this. The door is closed, but you've wound the window down to speak out to camera.
yeah. So, guys, the island we're going towards. I don't really want to come in all guns blazing because that's not a great way to go in. You with Flygon, you'll be able to go in quite quietly, but we'll probably have to drop into the ocean. And
I'm gonna have Kingdra take us closer.
Oh, cool. I get it. I'm the advanced part, and I get it. I see what you were thinking. Okay, cool.
Sure thing, Carl.
Okay, cool.
So it'll probably be a bit of a drop. Luckily, these helicopters always come equipped with parachutes.
Luckily, it'll be a bit of a drop. It's like 9 just thinking we don't do well with drops.
Luckily, there'll be a parachute for both of us, so you don't need to worry.
But then where does the helicopter go?
He can fly back. I'll pay him for double
I
the
thought
distance.
you were driving. Why did I think you were driving in an Uber? You don't drive the car yourself. Okay, fair.
Questioning. Learn to fly the hell. Wait, the first campaign.
Yes, exactly. We've done this.
I can fly a helicopter.
That's the only reason I'm letting it fly. No jokes aside. The only reason I'm letting it fly is because we've actually had a helicopter.
So yeah, out of character, basically the plan is to get close in the helicopter, so maybe we can just see it over the horizon. Oliver's plan is we both have parachutes, we can jump out.
Yeah. 9 don't need no parachute.
Oliver doesn't know that. We can jump out, and then I'll get out Kingdra, who he can definitely take at least one person, and I can imagine if we just hold on to him, he can take 2, because Kingdra's quite like a big Pokemon. He's got like a decent carrying capacity, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And then we'll meet Kyle on a beach or something like that.
I'm just remembering the first time we had a helicopter, the bad guys were escaping it, and I went after it on Vibrava.
You did?
Yeah.
Now I'm on Flygon. It's like all coming together.
Yeah, I know. And you
jumped
also
off a
have a fear of
building.
heights.
Yeah, and I jumped off a building with that fear of heights.
Okay.
That's true bravery.
Lunacy.
You're scared, but you
Exactly.
do it anyway.
Exactly.
Okay, so 9, almost said that. 9 and Oliver, you are in the helicopter. You've got your helicopter driver, who we're going to call Parker. We'll just keep that.
Yeah, keep that going.
Hello, Parker. And Parker's like, and where you going, mate?
Do you know the islands to the south of Mistwell?
You mean? I mean, I've never been asked to take anybody there.
Well, we're not going direct. We're going directly there.
It's a bit of an odd request. They don't usually ask for.
You need
Helicuber.
to. This is a very special.
You had a mad night, mate.
This is
You
a very
lost.
special request. You need to drop us close to there. We'll drop out the ocean. We'll take the parachutes. You can charge
in
my
the
card.
ocean.
In the ocean.
I don't know if my.
Do you not know who I
I
am?
don't know if my sat nav will take that, mate.
Well,
I've got to put. What's the postcode? I've got to put the postcode in, otherwise the sat nav won't.
I
like
will
it.
direct you, and I'll pay you however much you want. Put whatever direction you like in there.
SK1.
I mean, where I guess Valion Town's nearest to there. Shall I put that in?
That is completely fine with me.
You're going to have to make a decision soon, mate. The meter's running.
Honestly, you can charge me to go to anywhere in the world you like. I can pay for it. Just drop me close to those islands.
All right. Okay. Right.
Well, that's
off we
FAB.
go. And then, yeah. So the helicopter starts to take off. Kyle, you mount Flygon.
Yeah, I've already gone because I assume that I'm like the advanced party.
Okay.
Do you know where you're going though?
Yeah, no, I know where Skoll is. I've lived in the Mishra region for the last 6 years, so I know it is. I'm good.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cool. You guys are live. You guys are in the air. What's happening in that helicopter?
It's very hard to hear, but I eventually convinced 9 to eventually figure out how to put the headset round her horns.
I don't like this at
I kind of
all.
like the idea of it's like in the first Iron Man, the Tony Stark plane, and there's like strippers and stuff, and Nine's like, what the fuck is this?
Sword just sitting there, like no one come near me.
It's just like, this reminds me of the busty dwarf.
Cool. So we got some potential bonding time between Oliver and 9.
9 don't like this boy. 9 never liked this boy.
Why?
Because I collapsed the instant I saw it. So I want to imagine the first sort of 10 minutes of this flight are just awkward silence. Pretty much like this.
Just looking out the window, down like this. No.
That's like that's. Oh no,
It's unnatural.
that's fucking.
It's like a dwarf and a gnome getting together. No, it's unnatural. Don't like it. That's how you get halflings.
So you just stayed silent the whole journey?
No, there's like a.
Yes. Talk into the microphone.
The what?
The small black bit at the side of your face. Pull that down to your face.
I pull it. I cannot pull it.
Fucking pulls it off.
She pulls it down and puts it in her mouth.
I'll adjust it to the right position. There you go. You can talk now.
So, Oliver.
Yes.
This there's something that I kind of need to talk to you about before we get there.
Very well. We have time.
There's clearly some sort of issue between you and the other guy.
I'm sorry, but I 100% thought you were going to be like, Oliver's going to be like, are you coming on to me? Something I've got to talk to you about. I can't stop thinking about you.
Was it the way that I collapsed?
The way that name was said, like, I can't stop thinking about it.
Was it the way that my body went limp on the ground?
Nine loves it when the bodies go limp.
I just love it when I intimidate people.
And they fall.
Anyway, we're having a moment.
So there's clearly some sort of issue, dilemma. Quite frankly, I couldn't really give a fuck about it. But what I need you to be aware of is that whatever shit you two got going on, I'm not going into that palace fighting if I don't know that both of you won't be backing up me and also each other.
Alright, it goes... Have you ever had someone close to you nearly die? Or die?
Yes.
Very well, then you'll understand what it's like to blame someone for that death or near death, I assume.
They actually, to be fair, they did for a while, but they kind of just got on with it. They're still good. So you know Thalmy, right?
I know of. Met him briefly.
You know Ibothane.
The blue Pokemon.
So he's
the Pokemon.
He's a Dragonborn. But long story short, we were in this cavern. We were chasing some creatures down. We were just doing some shit. The usual adventuring stuff we get up to. Ibothane basically pulled Thalmy off a 300-foot drop of a cliff.
Basically murdered him.
How did he survive?
They didn't.
Do I faint again?
For the purpose of this, let's say no.
To put it lightly, they got brought back to life. There's magic that exists in our world, can do that kind of thing.
We have CPR, yes.
Yeah, but you got brought back to life, and they seemed pretty cool with it. A wee while there was a bit of an awkward moment, but there was a hug, there was probably a high five and a good chuckle, and they just deal with it. We kill each other all the time.
Well, Kyle was responsible through his own, not his own will, but his own recklessness, nearly responsible for the death of a mother figure in my life. I don't know if you'd ever have anything like that, but
no.
Fuck me, you are pressing all of our nerves. You're just like pushing all of Nine's buttons, like parents, family, friends, people dying.
So he through his actions nearly killed the Pokemon that raised me from a child. Mm-hmm. And I've never had so much as even the slightest apology out of him. If he were to apologise, then I would forgive him outright. I'd like to think I'm a forgiving person.
He seems like a bit of a simple boy.
I did teach him to read at age 16 or so.
Do you really think that he's picked up on this?
Either way, that's... If he has, and he hasn't apologised, then that's reason not to forgive him. And if he's so simple as to not know what he did, then I once again see no reason to forgive him.
But your mother figure survived. You all survived. No one died. No one got hurt. You're still here today. He's coming with you to help save your family, which he doesn't have to do. Doesn't have to do.
You make a good point. 10 minutes later.
Alright. So, Oliver potentially... We'll see how it plays out when they see each other again. Yeah.
This is like a sitcom. This is like some sort of...
I know. Right, okay, so Kyle, you're just flying over towards Skoll. You're...
Screaming the whole time.
I'm getting better with heights.
You're getting better, good.
Yeah. I just don't like him.
Okay. So where do you? So
Don't
you
like
guys
it.
are getting
I don't like it.
9.
It's for the greater good.
9
Yeah,
and Oliver are getting dropped in the sea.
Yeah.
Sort of relatively.
So, all right. So,
Good.
like near the end of that conversation, I'll be like, "Well, driver, this can be our stop. Just open the doors, and I'll start putting on a parachute, and I'll hand a parachute to 9. It's like, put this on. It's a long drop.
Can I just open the door and jump out?
So before let me just talk to you a little bit about what you can see before you.
Oh shit!
Fucking jump.
No, she falls quite slowly. You could describe it on the way down.
This is pretty nice.
You're coming up to, you're seeing all the sites that Oliver and Kyle are used to. They've seen, going over Orside Town. You can see Marble Step, you can see Valdion, you can see all those places.
What's
a brand new place? And then you see this is the first time that you've seen these 2 islands because they're quite far out from the mainland, so you can't see them from the mainland.
Okay.
And you see 2 islands which look similar but very different. The first one you come to.
Those are 2 different things.
Yes. Explain.
The first one you come to is very obviously the island of Hattie because there are
Still
some
smoking.
very tall buildings, but they've all collapsed, and there's
What are they
rubble
made out
all
of?
over the. So
Is it like old stone?
old stone,
Okay.
sort of medieval looking buildings? You
Okay, I
can
see.
the look of a large temple that has fallen,
Mhm.
and you can see a square with statues and stuff in it that have all been
Right,
taken
okay.
down.
So medieval style. Okay.
Exactly, and you can see that there's still a sort of not a mist, but slowly a lot of the rubble and stuff is just sort of disintegrating. And this time you can see that it's sort of still rising, and the waters around are this sort of chalky color from all the stone that is just slowly falling into it and just dissolving. And if you see closer, if you fly down closer, or if you look very closely, you can see a lot of this area is charred and there's has been burnt, and you can see bones littered across the place, and you can see waves lapping up on beaches with bones of what you can imagine would be humans and Pokemon alike.
So seriously, no one's been there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Fuck.
you've got that island that looks like that, and then just beyond it, you've got what is obviously Skoll. It looks very similar with these buildings, but they're all still standing. There's a large temple. You can see what looks to be like some sort of smaller chapel type thing.
I see what you mean by similar but different. So it's before and after.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I see.
Around Skoll, there are some very high walls that have obviously been built since.
By Trump.
Which exactly. Which may be a little bit of a problem for
Make
our being
Skoll
dropped
great
in the
again.
sea thing.
It's fine.
But so you can see some high walls, and inside you can see this large tower, which is this sort of large cathedral type thing, temple type thing. You can see various other buildings. Again, you've got like a little chapel type thing in there, and there's sort of a big square in the middle, with all the buildings sort of surrounding it. So, what do you guys want to do?
I'm still going with our drop.
Well, let's go back to the drop.
Yeah.
I've kind of already dropped out the.
I immediately kind of dart over to the right. I know what will happen. As she jumps out, I'm like, no. Run over to the door, see her falling really slowly, and can I faint out?
You just
that's not right. And just drop out.
If he faints out and I see it, can I go after him in Flygon and pull the cord?
So a bit of inside skydiving knowledge. Most modern parachutes have a thing where if you're below a certain altitude and you're travelling a certain speed, they'll automatically open your main chute, or it might be a reserve chute. It's been a couple of years since I've got skydiving. But yeah.
Cool.
So that's why I'm not too worried.
Okay.
I might pull a muscle or something.
Yeah.
Nifty.
I'm gonna go after him.
Yeah?
I dive down.
Are you trying to win back his trust? Or win?
No, I'm too stupid to know what I.
Oh, okay, fair. All right. Okay. So Kyle, you see all of our.
I've been here for maybe 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I've just been
circling. So maybe
sort of
you've
high,
seen a lot
high
of
area
stuff.
circling, so I've seen a lot of the thing, but I've not gone too close.
You've seen the.
Not that
if you've looked at the island, there's nobody around.
Okay, so
yeah, there's a little bit that you've got.
So then I but I then see them arrive. I see 9 jump out and like float a bit, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I like see like Ollie just full limp out of the thing, and I like dive Flygon after him.
Okay, cool. Can Flygon roll something check?
Yeah, like an athletics check or something.
Yeah, go athletics, because it's athletics to get there in time and also to then catch them.
Acrobatics? No, athletics.
Athletics.
Okay.
I think that encompasses both aspects of it.
That is 15?
15? No, that's fine. So Flygon flies under and does that thing where, you know, maybe Oliver's going at a little bit of an angle as well, and so you're sort of like gauging where he's going to fall, and then eventually Flygon just gets this huge weight on it again and sort of starts to plummet a bit, but then manages to flap.
I sort of thought of it like his wings go in, dives down, goes alongside him, and then pulls the cord on his parachute, and then he parachutes down.
Yeah.
Rather than Flygon catching him.
No, that's fine. And then maybe just at this motion when the parachute's going down, Oliver regains consciousness and sees Oliver sees Kyle and Flygon in front of him, and it sort of becomes quite obvious what's happened.
So like I'll start like guiding my parachute down.
I give him like a wee salute, and then Flygon spirals away.
Yeah, and I'll kind of in my mind you see me kind of look at him, and I look down at 9. I'm just like,
And then Flygon spirals away. I'm like, no, nothing fancy. That's a Star Wars reference.
I like
it is.
I like it.
Got it in there. That was a deep cut.
What's it from?
Episode 3. So R2, R4, yeah, nothing fancy, and then he dodges the missiles.
I see. That was a deep cut.
Sexy. Yeah, Robin is
Cool. So now, you guys have reached the water.
Just before we reach the water, I'll like go to my belt, pull out Kingdra, and kind of try and James Bond landing on a jet ski landing.
sexy.
Well, I am still wearing a suit and everything, so it's very James Bond.
In the air, Flygon, Kingdra between his legs revs him a little bit, and then lands.
Cool.
Immediately, like shaking off the parachute. Like,
I fucking love it.
Puts on the sunglasses and then drives Kingdra
So I
away.
imagine that 9 has got a little bit of control of where she can land, maybe.
to an extent.
Maybe you land like sort of 20, 50 metres out from the beach and you manage to haul yourself onto the beach. But you've now got some large, maybe 2-story high stone walls encompassing this entire island. And Oliver, you approach the island as well, and you're faced with the same thing. Flygon and James, you can fly straight in.
As I approach the island, it's majestic.
Good.
I land when they're at the base of the wall. I land next to them just to see what the plan is.
Okay.
Land and recall Flygon because I don't want to make a scene.
Cool. Okay, so you guys are all standing. So there's nothing happening here. This is just wall, beach, water the whole way around this island.
There's no sort of door?
That would be good. Highs or lows?
There's no door.
Oh.
Just walls.
So we just kind of can I go and inspect the wall? What's it kind of made out of? That kind of stuff.
So the wall is sort of like, again, there's even if these walls you get the impression that maybe they were made since the Hattie massacre, just because the other one doesn't, because the island of Hattie doesn't have them.
Oh, okay.
But they're still, these are still very backward people. They're still big stone walls. Someone who's good at climbing could climb them.
I was gonna look at Kyle. It's like, Kyle, if I remember correctly, I haven't watched any of your recent battles, but do any of your Pokemon still know Dig?
No. Flygon has it. It's not helpful.
Dig through the wall.
Flygon doesn't have Dig anymore. He's not.
Oh no!
Could your
Wait.
Pokemon not just fly us up to the walls and then we drop in that way?
We could do that.
Just ferry you across.
I could ferry us up to the top of the wall.
Because then I can fall in quite easily.
I was just thinking that the stealthiest way to get in would be
To break the wall.
Break through
underneath.
the wall.
would be to dig underneath.
I mean, I've got a spoon.
We've got a shield. That could be a good
Is anyone else having flashbacks to Chicken Run?
So we're going to be flying with all.
I've got Earthquake.
We'll keep that for a last resort.
Okay. We could.
What's the plan?
I can ferry us up.
Thank you, Kyle. That would be lovely.
Sweet. And I put Flygon out, and I swift myself up on top of the wall.
Okay.
And I sort of hunch down, and Flygon goes down and gets the other two.
I'll jump
so when
on
you
next.
fly up to the wall, you look over and can you make a perception check, please?
Ooh.
Wait for it.
Oh.
It could be a -6. Let's just double check. My notes don't make any sense. I have the word vampires written down.
Vampires question mark. Bring me, thole me.
19 in total.
Wow.
Perception +1. Not a bad perceptive boy.
So Kyle, you can see.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the sort of sets, and you get the same. You can now see much closer of this big spire, this big temple type thing. There's no windows on it. It's just stone. On all of these buildings, there's no windows.
Okay.
Maybe you can infer that they go out at night anyway. You know, they're only about during the night. So why would they need windows? Why
Of course,
do they
they're
need
not.
light?
I forgot they were nocturnal. Right. Yeah.
So
That's
then,
where the vampires comes from.
Vampires.
So then there's different. So there's the square, and around is sort of surrounded by buildings. You can see again various things. You can see what maybe looks like a sort of barracks, a sort of large area where maybe people might sleep inside. You can see another small chapel. You can see another couple of buildings in there. On this temple, a couple of points on ledges, you can see 3 of the same beast that came and took Tholme,
Okay.
who are up there, and they are sleeping.
What do they look like?
They've got the body of a pyroar and the head of a braviary with wings.
No. Okay. So these are the things that took Tholme. Cool.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, I don't know it, but I'm looking
that
at.
is
Out of character.
Griffin.
I'm looking at 3 griffins.
Yeah, the body of an Arcanine.
Do I know what they are? Would 9 know what
There's 3 of
griffins-
them.
9 can't see it.
Oh, 9 can see it. Oh,
If she does, though,
oh, she would. Though she
I
would.
know that there's only.
There's 3
I
of them.
know that there's 3 of them.
Standards.
Okay.
Would I have fought a griffin?
Don't know.
I want to fought
Maybe.
a griffin.
Yeah.
I'm unlikely. This is unlikely to make sense just because the name only works for one of them. But I kind of want to call these 3 the McElroy brothers.
Yeah, I very much do. I actually just thought that. I was
Yes,
just like,
sure.
is
Does
one of them? Is one of them?
Oldest is one of them the middleest, and one obviously the baby brother, the sweet baby boy.
Sure.
Is one of them wearing a sign that says 30 under 30 luminary?
30 under 30.
Forbes.
30 under 30. Avery Illuminary.
Fair. So that's what you can see. Are you going to ferry up? Are you going to go in first? Or are you going to ferry?
No, I'm
up?
waiting here, and then the other guys will come
Cool.
up to me.
So the other guys all get up to the top of the wall. You all see. Maybe Kyle points them out.
I did want to say I wanted to go up second, and then as Flygon went back down to get 9, I want to kind of elbow Kyle and be like, "How you been doing, bud?
What did you say?
How you been doing, bud?"
Good. I mean, it's been a weird couple of days. Weird day. The DM says day. It's been a weird day.
Thanks God.
It's I know. It's just been a while since we talked, so
Yeah. Do you watch my show?
I've seen it once or twice. I'm a bit busy.
Give them the boot.
I have to say I haven't seen that on the show, but I can imagine that would be a good bit.
Yeah, no, it's in every show.
Yeah, fair enough.
But this time, 9 has come up afterwards, and 9, you spot the griffins.
Just to say, 9 would fucking love the boot of justice and the boot of vengeance.
Oh, I'm wearing them.
I like to imagine that in the print underneath, when you like step on the sand, it says vengeance and justice.
That can be like your merchandise.
Oh my god, I love
Jay.
that.
Like rather than
No,
you
it
know how
says,
like
wait. Left is vengeance, right is J. Is justice. So it says VJ wherever I walk. Reference to our good friend.
yeah, who may be returning someday.
Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, as soon as I get up, I'm like, oh shit, that's 3 fucking griffins. How the fuck did they get there?
What's it called?
It's called a griffin.
I know a person called Griffin once.
Oh yeah, I remember him. He was in. I can't think of a Pokemon joke for Forbes.
He was in. There's gonna be one. There's fucking like 700 Pokemon. There's gonna be one that begins with an F.
He was in Voltorbs. Brilliant, good.
That's a good one. But yeah,
What's a Griffin?
they're loyal to the Empire back home, but I don't know how they managed to get them here.
Are they strong?
Yeah,
What type are they?
they're not a type. They've got claws.
They're normal type.
They can fly. They're pretty
Flying
fucking
type.
strong. They got a beak.
Maybe normal flying.
I probably know Aerial Ace. Gotta watch out for that one. It doesn't miss.
True.
It's also.
I'm checking what they're weak to.
I'm just checking what the contest type for Aerial Ace is.
I'm pretty sure. I think you just know that straight up.
I know I would, but I just don't know.
Guys, they're not Pokemon. They're from my world.
They clearly look like a Pokemon.
They're from my world, not your
The
world.
DM's not done with what he's doing yet. We should talk longer.
I fought them before. They're not. I fought them back home.
9.
They're not.
You a fan of my show?
Yeah,
Apparently,
a
it
show.
has boots in it,
What's this show? What do you mean
like
a
on
show?
television.
What?
I do a con.
You would know what show means. Maybe you think I'm talking about like a
Theatre
thing?
like a pantomime, like a traveling,
It's kind of like a pantomime, yeah.
like a traveling circus type.
We made the Pokemon do stuff, and it looks really cool. And then,
So like slavery.
well, I mean, all of Pokemon is slavery, technically, if you think about it. It's easier not
There's
to.
there's actually massive ethical debates about whether it's right or not. I think we had a whole campaign based on whether it was right to have Pokemon or not.
I try not to think about it because my show sort of depends on it.
Also, because all my research depends on it.
Because by your definition, I grew up in one of your shows.
That's really good. We'd love to have you on.
Yeah.
Do you know any magical talents?
I killed a lot of things.
I mean, that's less about
So
what I
is
do.
he. I killed one.
Yeah, we did a little bit of that.
I've been to counselling for the last 6 years because of it.
Again, I think it's easier just not to think about it.
He doesn't think about a lot.
It's all good, guys. I found the picture. We can stop.
It's a long exposition.
Did I kill a thing?
I just look at him and it's like an office moment. I look at the camera like, yes, you killed a thing.
It just cuts like, yeah, so Kyle doesn't know what he's doing.
Kyle doesn't know what he's done.
Okay, I finally found the picture that I was trying to look for.
It's a cool picture. I just saw
I
it.
just saw it. You see a statue outside of this temple that looks like this.
It's like
Oh.
a big two-headed emo dog dragon.
It's like a
beautiful
galaxy dog.
That's really cool.
Big two-headed emo dog dragon.
Do you know what it weird about it is? What it's got Arceus style.
Yeah.
It's
to it.
got almost like horns coming off its neck. But do you see horns like those
Imagine-
yellow things?
Is it called Galactor? 'Cause it's
Take
fucking
Cerberus,
That's
take away a
Tiberius.
head, add some dragon, and add some great fashion.
Yeah, add a pose. It's got a good pose. But yeah,
Wait,
no,
this-
that's Tiberius. Must be 2 heads.
This is based off a what's it called? You know, one of the Puccinas. Puccina evolves into the other Pokemon. Look at its
Oh,
look at its
Mighty
tail and its
Ina.
hind legs. Mightyena. It's got Mightyena about it.
Oh yeah, I suppose so.
It has.
Whoever
I
drew
like
this.
I like that a lot.
Well,
I
the-
really love the galaxy stuff.
Yeah.
That's very pretty. I really like that. That's awesome. Oh, I
So
wanna
yeah,
fight
that is a picture.
that.
That is a picture of Tiberius.
It's so
Tiberius.
So
cute.
you can see.
Oh shit, that's the god.
Yeah,
Yes, the two-headed god.
Completely missed that.
I'm gonna catch it.
that would be so cute as a wee puppy.
We gotta
Imagine
catch that
as a
head.
wee
Gotta
pup.
catch them all.
So you've
Gotta
got.
catch him out. Gotta catch him out.
Could it be?
Gotta catch him out. Gotta catch him out.
Gotta catch 'em out.
Shh! We're trying to be stealthy.
Shh, okay. Sorry. You can see this. It's fine. People in this world can't hear exposition songs.
Hello and welcome to this week's middle bit. I'm afraid it's just me again. James might be with us next week for the middle bit, but we'll see. He's coming up to Glasgow to see us, so Don't know, we may get Henry in as well, who knows. The reason Henry can't do it this week is because he's off in Edinburgh at the Edinburgh Fringe. So he's gone off to see the guys from BigSoftTitty.png, which is a podcast on the Sans Pants Radio Network, who he really likes and we like as well. So very jealous of him overseeing that. But yeah, there's a podcast you can go and listen to. Just listen to any of the podcasts on the Sans Pants Radio Network. They are just absolutely golden. But yes, just me this week. It's going to be quite a short one because I am just about to run off to see Spider-Man Far From Home. And yes, I know it's been out for absolutely weeks and I've still not seen it yet. I know I'm a pleb, but whatever. So yeah, that'll be good fun. So that's why it's going to be quite a quick one this week. Hope you're enjoying the crossover campaign so far. I think we're joining back up with 9, Oliver and Kyle going over to Skoll Island, which is good. We were going to do the next few episodes is sort of splitting between the two parties, you know, one episode with one lot and the next episode with the other lot, and sort of flip back between them for a few episodes. So I don't know, I just really wanted to split the guys up because I didn't want to control that many characters at once. So that's the main reason for this part of the campaign being the way it is, but I hope you won't mind. Also means you get to see, you know, all sorts of different stuff. So that's good shit. Want to talk a little bit about some podcasts. So last week I talked about, big boy podcasts, the big podcasting warlords that you should listen to. This week I want to talk about a few little podcasts that you should listen to. The first of which being the Real Filthy podcast. Real Filthy podcast are the best movie podcast in the west of Scotland, confirmed. Our friends Mac and Sam are involved in that. We've been on the Real Filthy podcast. We reviewed the Dungeons and Dragons movie with Jeremy Irons. So go over to their podcast if you want to hear us ramble about the Dungeons and Dragons movie. That's good fun. And also, Mac has been on the podcast before in the first franchise fistfights. So yeah, that was good fun. We really want to get back to doing franchise fistfights, and I'm sure we will soon. It's so hard to get enough people in the room at one time. It's a little bit of a Dungeons and Dragons meme of trying to get people in the room at one time to play, but we're pretty good at doing it just the 4 of us. But as soon as you have to bring 4 more people in, it becomes a logistical nightmare. But more franchise fistfights in the future. Talking of franchise fistfights, the other guy who was involved in that was Conrad, and he's a member of The Paper Trail, a band so this is not a podcast, this is a band recommendation you need to go and listen to. So The Paper Trail have just released a new single called Get Higher. You should go and listen to that. If you like your music loud, go listen to that. They've got a new EP coming out in the not too distant future, a couple of months. So yeah, go and listen to that if you have a moment. It's some good shit. And yes, finally, I want to talk about Social Bite. Social Bite are a charity that are aiming to end homelessness in Scotland and now across the world, because this year they're doing a worldwide sleep out. So all different cities around the world, you can go and sleep in a plastic bag for a night, like homeless people have to do all the time, and raise money for homelessness and curing homelessness. Well, it's not curing really, ending homelessness. So have a look on the Social Bite website, see if there's a big sleep out happening in a city near you, and go along, raise some money, have some fun. It was great when we did it last year, so there's my recommendation to you to save the world this week. So yes, I'm gonna head off, but go over and check our Instagram, our Twitter, our Facebook, send us an email, all the usual somies. Get on our Redbubble store, that's some good stuff. There's been a few purchases recently, which is awesome. And we will see you next week when we're going to head back over and join Ibothane, Nat, and Byron in their adventure. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Henry loves you. Okay, so you see that statue and you infer that this is probably Tiberius. But the only thing that's different about this statue is that one of its heads... You see the statue, but one of its heads has been brutally like blown off. So you can see there's obviously where it's just been removed by force. Just one of them, whatever one, the right one.
Good, cool.
Left.
I rolled left. So.
Okay, you rolled left. Let's go left.
Dice is that? That's a weird one.
It's my.
Just as left or right.
It's my B-Town dice.
So, do I know this? Do I know all the type? Does Nine know the whole Tiberius whatnot?
No.
No.
Not really.
Cool.
Kyle, do you think that could be Tiberius?
Oh yeah, the one from the Paris's storybook.
Yeah.
The what now?
There's a book that our friend, I think, Harris wrote about the history of this area. And in it talks about an ancient god.
I thought it was fiction.
No, it's real, Kyle. He's only just learned to read. It's a whole thing.
Is Piplump's magical adventure real too?
Yes, Kyle, it is.
What about the hungry caterpie?
That's 100% real. How do you think we get Butterfree? But the people that used to live on this island had a god. I'll put air quotes around it, like a god, but really it was probably some sort of Pokemon. I'm an atheist, but they everyone knows that gods don't exist.
What about Arceus?
You should come to my world at some point. I can introduce you to some.
Do I faint?
Do you know what's really funny is that it's the god of your world talking to you about how he doesn't believe the gods in this world. DM.
But the people on this island used to sacrifice themselves to control that thing, and it would give them powers like unbelievable powers.
Oh my!
But someone used it once to destroy the other island, and then that's, I believe, where our friend Harris came from. He was one of the last survivors, or the child of the last survivors from the neighbouring island, the destroyed one.
I take it the last thing we want to happen is for this thing to come back.
I mean, a mixture of we don't want it to come back, but it would offer some fantastic research opportunities.
It kind of might make sense as to why Harris was in the book now. I get it.
See, you're getting there.
Do you think they'll do a movie of it? Because I think I could play myself. It could really be the way I jump onto the big screen.
Anyway, should we get down this other side? 9, how did you do that? How did you fall so slowly earlier?
I point to my belt. It's a magical item that I picked up.
Do I think she's pointing at her ass? Like, I just...
Glutes, man!
I have a condition!
Right,
It's a magical item that I picked up.
I'd like to get something like that and study it, but very well. I think we need to... Is there any sort of like obvious landmarks?
So within this place, you can see the large temple, which has got no windows or anything, and it's got a big, large, huge, like double doors in front of it. But
what are the doors made of?
Wood.
Yeah. Wood. And then you can see other. So
Nine chuckles at that. She's like, I know a man who would like this.
So the other places in
James
this big
heartbroken.
Square. I know, he's crying. You can see the big square is a sort of a not a very swanky looking building. It's got some torches and stuff outside. So this place is sort of dimly lit, and this place looks as if it could be where people stay.
What's yours name?
And then you've got
what time of day is it?
It is just early in the morning. So so I think it's like.
So Tholme appeared like very early morning.
Yeah.
We then went to the place, had a quick meeting, and come straight here.
I apologise for not listening properly. But where were the griffins? On the wall, or
so they were sleeping at points on this big temple, on this big spire.
Oh, so bits of it. Okay.
So I'll probably look at the other two and be like, it looks like that middle temple is probably the best place to start. It's kind of the most obvious building that's at least partially defended. And if my times playing MMOs have told me anything, it's probably where we want to go.
So the other places, just to complete it, so there's also another room which has got sort of another building, sort of maybe sort of a similar size to the one that you're presuming to be the barracks.
Okay.
But this has got like the doors are not just doors; they've actually got railings and stuff onto them. These seem to be a lot more secure, almost like almost prison-like. And then there's another one which is another building which is a small chapel. It's sort of like a smaller version of the temple, and there is no door to that. That's just sort of open. And then you've got this big square with all of those buildings around it, and then the statue.
So there's the statue in the middle of the square, and then on the different sides there's a place where it looks like people would live.
Yep.
There's on one side place where people could live, place where it looks like a prison, place where it looks like a church, and then big building.
Yes.
So because it's a square, what side of the square are we on?
Okay, so we'll say that you're just above the chapel bit.
Cool. So we're just above the chapel bit.
Guys, I think we should. There's obviously the very large building, as I said, but I've just noticed the building that potentially looks like a prison. That could be where my family is being kept.
We should go there first before we attract any attention.
I mean, I agree with you, Carl, but first I think it's also getting off this wall. We're very obvious up here.
We should also do that without attracting attention.
Yeah.
I would like to jump down at this moment.
Okay.
She's got the right idea.
She's kind of cool.
She is.
She's like Nat in 20 years.
Yeah.
So you jump down, and then you're inside this square, and you can get a sort of closer look around. But it's the same stuff. And then are you guys ferrying you guys down? As well?
I will. Yeah, I'll. Can we like hold on to Flygon's legs and he just lowers us?
Yeah. You guys get down. You get down into the square, and you want to go over to this sort of prison-like building. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you,
so yeah, I want to like sneak over towards there.
Okay, so if you get over again, there's no windows, and you can see that behind. So there's big gratings, big iron railings with a big lock on them, and there's actually multiple locks all over this. The locks are rusted, and you know they've rusted so much that the locks have sort of they've coalesced together, and behind there's this wooden door which is and it's sort of like there's maybe some plants and stuff growing across it as well.
Okay.
That are sort of crossing from the wall over, knotting through these railings and onto the door and whatnot.
It looks like potentially that nobody's gone in here for a while, but I think we should still probably check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any ideas of how to get through these locks stealthily?
Not stealthily.
Hyper beam.
I was just gonna shield bash it, but that's still each their own.
There's not a ceiling above us, though, which won't work.
Potentially, because while I know the locks are already rusted, and this involves some bullshit science here, but salt water makes rusty things rust more. And can I say that a Pokemon move would cause it to happen even faster? So if Kingdra used brine on the locks, would it rust them to nothing?
Do you have any ice moves?
I don't think so, no.
Highs or lows?
Oh, you can just get Aaron to eat the lock.
That's true.
Oh, that's much easier. Right, as I'm coming up with this really convoluted plan of I'll be explaining to the other two. It's just the hydrogen particles and what blah 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 blah, and the salt water blah 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 causes oxidation blah 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 blah.
And then
blah.
Shh, Agron. Pebble.
Okay, could Pebble roll stealth?
Can he fuck?
The answer's no, but let's try that one out anyway. It's a 12.
Oh, that's not bad.
Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine.
You one.
Pebble. Shh.
Yeah.
Quietly.
Okay.
Like
A
trying to
man-
eat crisps in an office.
I was gonna say a man trying to eat, someone trying to eat popcorn in a cinema at a really important moment in the film.
So you actually managed to break, over the course of a few minutes, the Agron breaks through the iron bars and through the locks of this, and you're through to the wooden door.
I push it
Do you want
open.
to just...
Burn it.
We'll say that he eats through the door or something. You get through the door as well.
That was the best DM. Fuck it, the door's on. Agron just doesn't know when to
And
stop.
you push this door open, and as you do, the door it's really hard to push. And eventually, when you break it open, it almost feels like the door had fused to the wall. Like this has not been opened in years. This door, and then when you look in, it's pitch black.
I throw up my Orby boy.
You throw up an Orby boy.
Shit, she got the Orby boys.
Orby boy.
Okay.
I have a flashlight.
Orby boy goes up, and this illuminates rows. So like you're there's a central corridor on either side. There are just cages and cages and cages going all the way down.
Oh, lovely.
And inside these cages are
People turning into snakes.
no. There are
Nine's just like, not again.
inside these cages. There are beasts.
Eldras?
Wait, are they the people turning into
Yeah.
snakes?
Inside these cages, there are some sleeping, but mostly dead beasts like you've never seen before. There are.
What do they look like?
There are things with, weird dragon-like heads, and there are,
Seen that before.
weird. Fuck off.
I was just
For
like,
Pokemon,
what
no.
have we not seen before?
There are miscellaneous things from the monster manual inside these cages.
Would Nine have seen something?
Beholders. and
Nine
shit.
would have seen, so maybe Nine looks in and she sees like the corpse of a displacer beast, which is like this weird like panther thing. That's kind of cool. And there's- what else did she see? No,
I
not
did
the
roll.
dragon.
Do you know what I love is we got a slight glimpse into what Connor was thinking when he found these in the monster manual. That's kind of cool.
I've got a 17 on a perception check.
Right, what did you see?
What happens if
There
you
is one issue of it'd be very impossible to keep a displacer beast in a.
Well, I don't know much about displacer beasts. I just know they look cool.
Wait, is it easy to keep a dead one though?
I actually funnily think no.
Oh,
You see various things. Maybe you see one of these boys.
Oh,
Well, that's
dang.
But a lot of them are dead. There are a
Okay.
couple of things that obviously have some sort of life expectancy of a bit longer.
I want to
and
write
there's-
in that
Well,
there's
what about food?
There's a Yuan-Ti dead.
Do
You get lots of dead Yuan-Ti.
they look almost like
That's why they went.
emancipate? What's the word?
Emaciated.
Emaciated. Sorry, yes, emaciated. They look as if they haven't been fed, they've been starved,
Yes,
they've been
they've
here for a while.
not been fed. You can see that actually some of the cages have maybe been sort of broken through, and that some of them have eaten others, and like this is. But you can
Oh.
tell that these things have just been locked away and left, like they did not know what to do with them.
what happens if I scan it with a Pokedex? Does it just go error 404 Pokemon not found?
Yeah, exactly.
Shit.
So and
Error 404. This is obviously Pokemon 404 not found. It's a weird Pokemon. Not found.
404. What is Pokemon 404? I wonder.
So is it just these rooms, just the cages, and it goes?
Yeah.
That's
so the
it.
whole maybe there's 10 cages or something, and
Nothing.
yeah, there's nothing really in it apart from corpses and maybe the occasional thing that you can see that's sort of still breathing but does not look like it's gonna get up.
I kind of,
Pokemon 404 is Luxio.
Oh,
It's
decent.
Patty.
Yeah.
I kind of motioned to the guys just to go back upstairs, but put my finger on my lips, like.
So back out of the
Yeah.
Okay. So if you leave this place, then we've got the barracks, we've got this chapel, and we've got the big temple.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll just give a download that those were all creatures from my world, but none in fighting condition and none worth spending time on.
I've begun to assume that anything we see that isn't a Pokemon is from your world.
Do you think any of them would be good on my show?
They're all pretty dangerous animals.
Sorry, just dropped a dice. That's okay. Just try and keep it down. We're trying to be stealthy.
Okay, sorry.
Come on, God! Stop it!
Where's next?
Big building, I think.
I was gonna say check everywhere. At least check like.
The Robin school of going through doing all the side quests before going to the big
I was gonna say have a quick look in the building, at least in the building without any doors.
the chapel.
The chapel, yeah.
Okay.
So
I would just like to say.
So do you like the? I want to say it looks like the Scooby Doo thing. We're all on our like tippy toes, like across the middle of the court.
Okay.
I love that.
Cool. So you
I
walk
go
in.
on behind.
So it's more of an archway than a
Okay.
door, and you walk in. You can see the sort of torches along the walls have sort of flickered out now because it's been all night, and the sunlight sort of coming in through the door. So actually, a fair amount of this room's actually illuminated. you can see pews leading the whole way down, and you can see another smaller statue of Tiberius on an altar, and you can see on this altar there are, you know, a few books, and along the walls you can see different sort of paintings and whatnot.
I hate books.
I go read the books.
Okay.
Is Tiberius' head destroyed on the altar?
That's what I was
Yes.
gonna ask, yeah.
Ooh.
So every picture and all on the walls you can see, you know, there's pictures of Tiberius that have just been like scored out with a knife,
Right,
or
okay.
with like some sort of you know, paint,
Yeah.
dust type stuff.
But just at the what should have been the
Left head.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
You can see, so the Skoll are trying to, you know,
very
Eradicate that
erase
bit.
any memory of Hattie, effectively.
Right.
that is
But you want to go and check out the books,
Mm-hmm.
Oliver. Okay, so there are a number of books here. We've got one and it's this book that you maybe could pick it up because it looks slightly odd. It looks as if this once had 500 pages or something in it, but the first 470 have been ripped out.
Mm-hmm.
So this is sort of like a, you know, it's like when you've got a ring binder, one of these big massive ring binders that's only got like a couple of bits of paper in it.
Yeah.
So
okay.
it's just got these couple of bits of paper at the end, and it says, so it talks about the 437th elder, and then the 438th elder, and the 439th elder of Skoll.
Okay.
And it talks about, so it says the 437th elder, whose name was Salem, and then it talks about his legacy, about how he prematurely ended his life to eradicate Hattie, and that's sort of the first page.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you've got another page which talks about the 438th elder of Skoll, whose name was Credence, and it talks about his legacy.
Clearwater.
Or from Fantastic Beasts, who knows?
Who knows?
May have made that name today. And it talks about how this elder's legacy was about discovering this, or reforming this mirror, this portal mirror, and transporting members of Skoll into different worlds.
Credence did that.
Yes.
Right.
And you get the impression that he used Tiberius's form to be able to gain this power to do that.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
And then
So they all so what? Oh, so Salem was still able to die even though it was Tiberius. Eventually, he passed on because there was another one after him
yeah.
that became Tiberius.
So I think you would know, or you would infer that once they become Tiberius, once the Tiberius dies, then that's that elder gone, and then the next person takes over until they then get old enough to then become the Tiberius.
Yeah.
So also in this bit you read some stuff about how during this process, although this is his great legacy of branching Skoll out into different worlds, it also reads stuff about this problem by which other creatures came through from the other side that wiped out a lot of Skoll. But a lot of the cult, the religion survived, and then they managed to trap and board up and imprison a lot of these beasts that came through the portal.
Okay. Ugh.
And then you see an entry for the 439th elder, whose name is Grendel, and there's not much written for him yet.
Okay.
And this is sort of the last written in page.
So he's the current one, same age as Harris. He's Harris. Good.
He is Harris, confirmed.
Confirmed. Canon. Illuminati confirmed. Half-Life 3.
We've solved it. Let's go home. Boys. Fuck my family. We've solved the mystery.
There's another couple of books where it's going into, maybe you have a quick look, there's going more into this travelling between worlds type thing. And it's talking about mainly two places. It's talking about these winter realms of which 9 you would know is this area of your world. And it's talking about a woman named Nerissa Nerissa, who was the daughter of Grendel, who was transported to a small village in this other world that they managed to connect with through this mirror. And she was transported when she was maybe 18, something like that, a young woman.
Mm-hmm.
And she was transported over there to sort of integrate with another society over there, in a small village or whatnot, and spread the word of Skoll in this world.
Okay.
And then there's sort of different entries in this, and it talks about how the village that she was a part of was pillaged, was gone into and destroyed by,
it was not me.
by creatures from the north.
Okay.
So 9, maybe can you make what sort of check?
Insight?
A history.
History check.
History?
History check.
I shouldn't have suggested that.
Would be history.
Shit at history. Oh, that would be a 15 though.
Okay, so you would know that this place, the town that it mentions, which I'm not going to make up a name for, is actually sort of just south of these winter realms.
Okay.
It talks about how this village was pillaged and
It rhymes.
this village was pillaged and pretty much all of the people were killed apart from Nerissa, who was taken north to a palace of ice. Actually, what comes next is a bit disturbing, and it talks about how she was taken to this palace of ice and was forced to marry someone called the Tyrant.
I put 9 perks up at this.
Okay, cool. The Tyrant also has 2 other wives and this is obviously this is information that's been coming back and forth from between this world, so there's been messages going back and forth.
So they've been sending out recon.
Yes. The Tyrant has 2 other wives. One is an orcish woman and the other is an elven woman, or an elvish woman, depending on whether Tolkien is going to sue us or not.
From beyond the grave.
Yeah, and they were also from pillaged villages. And this is the bit that's kind of disturbing. The Tyrant obviously has this vision of creating a perfect army for his vision of, moving south and taking the rest of this world, or taking villages and cities on his way down, and maybe eventually getting down to River's Edge or something like that.
Oh, okay.
He wants this perfect army, and his vision to do this is to create a genetically perfect army in his own line. So it talks about Nerissa being forced to breed with the Tyrant.
Ugh.
To create to procreate these offspring, and then for them to procreate again, to create this army that's all related to the Tyrant, because he has this sick sadistic view about his genetics and how he is perfect. James, your face. And that he's also done this with his other wives. And I may or may not have just got, when I had this idea, just got to that bit in Game of Thrones with the...
Oh, okay, good. This didn't come from you.
No!
Like,
what was it called? Craster's Keep?
Oh, yeah.
That's sort of...
Okay, this is... Okay, now I'm really confused, because I thought the Ice Kingdom thing had something, and the Tyrant had something to do with the vampires.
The vampire? Oh, for Skoll?
Skoll vampires.
No.
Plot twist for me.
So this worked relatively well for Nerissa, although she was having a shit time, being forced to create this army. She still managed to carry out her mission of spreading the word of Skoll through her own brethren, effectively.
Oh God!
And you can tell that. So it reads that her offspring and the sort of army of humans, of humans are loyal to her, and then to Skoll rather than to the Tyrant, because they see that Skoll and the word of Skoll is their way out of this. Because they've all effectively been enslaved for this army that are going to try and go south and take the southern kingdoms.
And do they? And
that's fucked up.
And do they all wear robes?
Don't know.
Doesn't specify.
Doesn't specify.
Is there not
robes.
a picture?
No.
Damn it.
And then there's another chapter talking about a man named Dorian. But he was who was before this was married to Nerissa, who was Grendel's child, and he'd been transported to a different world, a world of technology and space travel, and was also, found his way into a slave system, and managed to spread the word of Skoll there.
Holy shit!
Right.
And they too, all of his people, all the slaves in there, are also loyal to him and to the word of Skoll, as opposed to their leaders being the Hutts.
Right.
Why do they...
Wait, I'm sorry, confused. He had followers in that world as well. Was the Hutt fucking him?
No, there was no.
Why?
There was no.
As
slug
we're
sex.
reading this, I'll be kind of quietly reading it to just to the others then.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of turn to them. It's just like, why are their leaders small houses? That's really weird.
Hutts. And then there's various other people that maybe you don't.
This is a book that makes me wish I couldn't read anymore.
Various other people that maybe you don't recognize names and want to talk a little bit about them. They're nothing really particularly interesting. And then Kyle and Oliver, you recognize a name, and it says Kian.
Motherfucker.
Oh, bitch.
I'm assuming, Kyle, that you know this name as well, right? You can read it, right?
How do you spell that?
This is our. Well, I kind of weirdly hoped that him and Lexi died.
I thought they had.
Yeah, they did kind of disappear and were never seen again. But apparently they were joining some cult.
Weren't they together?
I don't know. They were quite close.
I don't know. I think Kian sent me a dick pic at one point and was just like, "Sorry, that was."
You sure that wasn't Lexi?
Wait, so which one's the bloke?
Kian.
So this is a
I
guy
assume he's got the dick.
you know.
Ah, cool. Kian
Cool.
is Kian.
Yeah.
Just because.
I mean,
no one
out of character, I remember calling it a dumb name, and I still think it's a dumb name.
Yeah.
So Kian, spelled Kian, which stands for Kian, is asshole nah?
Fine. But anyway, it talks a little bit about Kian and how he is the son of Dorian and Nerissa.
Oh shit.
And that he was originally meant to spread the word of Skoll in Trainer City Academy.
So Kian is from Skoll?
Yes. He was originally meant to spread the word of Skoll in Trainer City Academy, but that didn't go too well because it was never open.
And he got distracted. He got distracted by kicking pigeons. Classic Skoll.
And his friend getting a boot to the head.
So then his job...
And then his other friend getting a boot to the head.
Yeah.
As they jumped off a train.
And then once again getting a boot to the head and dragging her off into a bush. That's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then you sort of see that his job was sort of repurposed as being a messenger.
Reshuffled.
I know, exactly.
Well, you're shit at this, but do something else.
Yeah. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Saviour Skoll?
No,
It's a quote unquote promotion. It's basically like, you fucked that up, so but you're the boss's son, so we're gonna have you do something else.
Yeah. So then his job was sort of repurposed to travel between these worlds that they were involved with and bring the messages back and forth.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what he's been involved with since.
That's what you meant by messenger.
Yes.
I genuinely thought more like a Jehovah's Witness. That wasn't really part of like a joke. Okay, cool. So he was a spy. Okay.
And at this,
which world does it say he was in?
Pretty
he
spy.
was in Skoll.
So
he was trying to do the spread the word in Trainer City Academy, but that didn't work.
But what when he became a messenger to one of the other worlds, spy on it? Like which world did they send him to?
Both.
Okay.
To bring messages back and forth.
Okay.
And at that moment, you hear sort of maybe a sort of animal noise behind you.
Oh fuck.
And you hear a voice of a man's voice saying, "I suppose I expected you guys to come sooner or later."
I'll whip around and look at him.
And you see what you presume to be some sort of like the closest thing to like a minister? Like
Right.
obviously someone who is obviously they're all religious, but this is obviously the person who takes the.
He's got a collar.
Yeah, he's got a collar, exactly. And you see behind him, looking into this door, 3 griffins.